can confirm that an arrest has been made in the case. Kristen Brock's 17-year-old daughter, Sarah Grace Patrick, has been taken into custody and charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault.
It began with silence. Not the kind of silence you expect on a quiet street in Carrollton, Georgia. This one was different. Thick, weighted, and unnatural. On the morning of February 20th, 2025, a 6-year-old girl wandered through her family's home, looking for breakfast, and found something no child should ever see. Her parents, Kristen and James Brock, lay lifeless in bed. No screams, no signs of struggle, just 2 bodies and the echo of something unimaginable. Moments later, her teenage sister dialed 911. Her voice was steady, too steady. "My parents are dead," she said. Within hours, investigators flooded the house. What they found only deepened the mystery. No signs of forced entry, no missing valuables, no evidence of anyone coming or going. It looked like the killer never had to break in, because maybe they were already inside. The case would go unsolved for months. But while the town mourned, the teenage girl who made the call began posting tearful videos on TikTok, videos that would soon take on a haunting new meaning. And when the truth finally surfaced, it wasn't uncovered in the evidence room. It was buried beneath captions, camera filters, and a story too dark for the algorithm to understand. This is not just another murder case. It's a tale of deception, digital grief, and a family that fell apart from the inside. And it all started with a girl, a phone, and a whisper through the screen. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more gripping, real-life crime stories that peel back the layers of truth. Every case we cover is real, raw, and revealed, just like this one. February 20th, 2025, began like any other sleepy winter morning in Carrollton, Georgia. A quiet suburban street, framed by pine trees and unassuming homes, stirred awake under a gray sky. In one of those homes, something was deeply wrong. Inside, the bodies of Kristen Brock, 41, and her husband James Brock, 45, lay still in their bed. Both had been shot to death. They didn't die fighting or running. They died in their sleep together. The horror wasn't discovered by police or neighbors. It was their 6-year-old daughter who found them first. Moments later, 17-year-old Sarah Grace Patrick, Kristen's daughter from a previous relationship, called 911. Her voice was calm. Too calm, some would later say. She told the dispatcher her parents were dead. When officers arrived, there was no forced entry, no broken windows, no missing items, nothing stolen. Whoever killed Kristen and James had walked in and out without a trace. Or maybe they'd never left at all. But as investigators searched for an intruder, they began to realize the killer might not have come from outside the home. The community came together to mourn. The funeral was solemn, the church packed. Sarah stood at the front, clutching her younger sister's hand. When she stepped up to speak, her voice quivered with emotion. She apologized, not just to her family, but vaguely, almost philosophically. It was hard to tell if it was grief or guilt that colored her words. Soon after, she turned to social media. Her TikTok videos began surfacing. Somber piano music in the background, black and white filters, captions about loss and pain. In one video, posted in March, she wrote, "They don't know it, but a year from now, me and my 5-year-old sister would find our parents wrongfully shot dead." The tone was eerie, like she knew what was coming before it happened. Viewers flooded her page with sympathy, praising her strength. She was the grieving daughter, holding her little sister's hand through tragedy. But not everything added up. Privately, she was reaching out to true crime TikTokers. She messaged one, asking them to cover her parents' case. She described the murder scene. She said it would be a big hit. Why would a teenager so deep in mourning ask strangers online to help investigate her parents' death? Unless she knew something no one else did. Behind the scenes, the investigation never really stopped. Carroll County authorities partnered with the FBI and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. They dug into digital records, phone data, browser history, and social media footprints. They also examined the house again and again. There was no sign of a break-in, no surveillance footage showing a suspect. But there was something more revealing: behavioral inconsistencies. Sarah's eulogy, her calm 911 call, her online outreach, her messages to influencers didn't just describe the crime. They described it in detail, using terminology police hadn't released. Then came the note. Sarah had written a letter to her biological father days after murders. Investigators haven't made it public, but those familiar with the case said the contents were troubling. Combined with her digital activity, it painted a different picture than what the world saw on TikTok. Her story was unraveling, and when the police finally closed in, Sarah did something that no one expected. On July 8, 2025, almost 5 months of the day after murders, Sarah Grace Patrick walked into the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. She was accompanied by an attorney. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. But she did something that changed everything. She turned herself in. Authorities arrested her on the spot. She was charged as an adult with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault. The headlines exploded. Grieving TikTok daughter, now a murder suspect. Her TikTok account vanished. The videos were gone. The messages erased. Her transformation from mourning daughter to prime suspect was complete. And yet, she still hadn't confessed. Her attorneys gave no statement. Police wouldn't reveal a motive, but they did say one thing. They had mountains of physical and digital evidence. And if they were right, the most damning proof might have been left by Sarah's own hands. Public opinion split like lightning across the internet. Some called her cold-blooded. Others said she was a scapegoat. But inside Sarah's own family, the fracture was just as sharp. Her grandfather, Dennis Nolan, stood by her. In an interview, he said, "They don't have the gun. Nothing puts the gun in her hand." He called her broken, not a killer. Said the system was rushing to judgment. But another family member, a niece of Kristen, felt differently. She told local media, "We had our suspicions from the beginning. 2 stories, 2 truths. A teenager who either lost her family or destroyed it. And in the middle of it all, a little girl, the 6-year-old who found her parents, left behind to live in a world where monsters might wear familiar faces." But even with the arrest, one question still haunted everyone. Why? Months passed. Sarah sat behind bars. Prosecutors stayed tight-lipped. No plea had been entered, no trial date set, and no motive publicly shared. Why would a 17-year-old kill her mother and stepfather? Was it anger? Abuse? Mental illness? None of those answers were confirmed. Rumors swirled. Investigators refused to comment. But they hinted the case might not be closed. There could be other people involved, or details still unknown to the public. Every document remained sealed, every answer just out of reach. And then one influencer, one of the same people Sarah had messaged, came forward with a claim. She said Sarah sent her a voice memo before the arrest. A voice memo where she allegedly admitted to something. The clip hasn't been released. Not yet. And when it is, the whole story might change again.